What if I told you there was a man who lived thousands of years ago who never died? A man so wise, so advanced, that he was the first to write, the first to sew clothes, the first to study the stars and time itself. A prophet who wasn't just a spiritual leader, but a scientist, inventor, warrior, and mystic, all at once. And then, just like that, he vanished. Not from history, but from the earth. Some say he was taken alive into the heavens and never returned. This isn't mythology. This is the story of Idris, the second prophet after Adam, and one of the most mysterious men to ever walk this planet. His name is mentioned only briefly in the Quran, but his legacy, it echoes through time. So who was he? Why was he chosen? And what happened to him in the end? Let's uncover the forgotten journey of the prophet who reached the stars. Welcome to the Knowledge Channel.
Long before modern civilization, before cities, before maps, before written words, humanity was still learning how to survive. The world was wild, harsh, quiet. People lived among dense forests and open plains, in scattered tribes, relying only on memory to pass down knowledge. There was no ink, no paper, no science. Just stories told around fires and instincts inherited from the very first man, Adam. After Adam came his son Seth, also a prophet, who carried the divine message. For a while, people walked the straight path. But as generations passed, whispers of corruption began to creep in. People started drifting. They forgot. Some grew arrogant. Others fell into temptation. What started as a pure line of descendants began to fracture, light started to fade, and darkness slowly took its place. And then came a child, quiet, observant, gifted with something far beyond his time. His name? Idris. Even as a boy, he was different. He asked questions others were too afraid to ask. While others looked at the stars and saw distant lights, he saw patterns, messages. While others waited for seasons to change, Idris tracked the moon, the sun, the skies. He could sense time itself and how it moved like a hidden river behind everything. Where did this wisdom come from? No one knew. But those around him could feel it. This child was chosen. He wasn't born into a palace, nor was he surrounded by armies. Yet his presence was commanding. Calm but sharp, quiet but powerful. Some say he could go days without speaking, and then deliver words so profound they silenced entire gatherings. Others claimed he would sit beneath the stars for hours, reading the night sky like a sacred scroll. And then came the call. Like those before him, Allah chose Idris. But this time it wasn't just to guide people spiritually. It was to awaken something greater, a deeper understanding of the universe, a way to combine revelation with reason, faith with function, spirituality with science. Idris wasn't just a prophet. He was the first human being to think like a civilization. And yet, this was just the beginning.
When Idris was chosen as a prophet, he didn't just call people to worship, he called them to awaken. He stood among tribes that still lived by instinct, fear, and superstition, and began to speak of order, of writing, of numbers, of cloth. He taught people how to read the stars and measure time, not just by guessing, but by observation and reflection. For the first time in human history, people weren't just reacting to nature, they were beginning to understand it. The scholars of later generations would call Idris the father of philosophy, astronomy, and science, but in his time, he was simply known as the teacher. It's said he was the first to write with a pen. Imagine that moment, the first human to make marks not with pictures, but with symbols that carried meaning. A man who turned sound into memory and memory into history. He introduced tailoring, showing people how to stitch cloth and wear it properly, moving humanity away from animal skins. He mapped the stars, taught farming techniques, organized communities. This wasn't just prophecy, this was the birth of civilization. But Idris didn't stop there. He was also a warrior. Yes, the same man who stared at the stars was also said to have led men into battle, not for power, but to protect the weak from corrupt tribes who had fallen into tyranny and darkness. He showed the people that faith was not passivity, it was courage, truth, and discipline. And through it all, Idris remained humble. He never sought fame, he never demanded praise. His goal was always higher. He looked up at the sky not for escape, but for understanding. And slowly, people followed him, not because they were forced, but because his vision lifted them. Yet, even as Idris taught humanity how to rise, there was something deeper happening, a secret destiny, a cosmic invitation. Because unlike any prophet before him, Idris was destined to leave this earth not by death, but by ascension. That part of the story is coming next. As Idris grew older, his wisdom only deepened. He had seen the rise of knowledge, the light of reason, the structure of civilization forming. He had given humanity the tools to look beyond survival and into the skies. And perhaps that's why the skies looked back. Unlike any prophet before or after him, Idris's end didn't come with death. The Quran mentions him only twice, briefly. But in Surah Maryam, there is a sentence, small in words, massive in meaning. And we raised him to a high station. Surah Maryam 19:57. Raised? Not in rank, in place, in presence. Scholars and commentators across centuries have reflected on this verse. What does it mean? Did Idris die and then ascend? Or was he taken while still alive? Many believed and still believe that Idris never died. Some narrations suggest that he was lifted into the fourth heaven alive as a reward for his purity, knowledge, and obedience. Others say he asked an angel to take him to witness the writing of human deeds, and while there, God honored him by keeping him in the heavens. Imagine it, the man who gave humanity writing being taken to the place where all is written. It wasn't an escape, it was an elevation, a divine acknowledgement that this was not just a man of the earth, but a soul made for the stars. And perhaps this is why, when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, ascended through the heavens during the miraculous Isra and Miraj, he encountered Idris in the fourth heaven, alive, present, and honored. Out of all the prophets of old, Adam, Noah, Abraham, it was Idris who was already there, waiting among the angels. But here's the question, why him? What was so unique about Idris that he deserved such a fate? Why did he vanish from earth without a trace, without a grave, without a goodbye? Maybe, just maybe, Idris's story isn't over yet.
Idris may have vanished, but his fingerprints remain everywhere. Every time we pick up a pen, every time we measure time, track stars, wear tailored clothes, or ask questions about how the universe works, we're continuing the legacy of a man who lived before kings, before empires, before even the concept of history itself. He was not just a prophet, he was a spark, the kind that starts fires, a thinker in a world of instinct, a seeker of knowledge in a time when ignorance was the only path. While others accepted the chaos of nature, Idris searched for order, meaning, and divine patterns hidden within creation. And it's no accident that this man, this builder of human advancement, was also the one chosen to ascend without death.
Because Idris's story isn't just about the past, it's about the future, about where knowledge and faith must walk side by side. In today's world, obsessed with technology, information, and speed, we often forget that the roots of true knowledge go far deeper. That the first scientists were prophets. That the first innovators were men of God. And Idris was the first of them all. His story reminds us, wisdom without humility is dangerous, and faith without understanding is fragile. Idris mastered both and rose because of it. He shows us that a true believer doesn't run from the stars, he studies them. A true believer doesn't hide from the unknown, he explores it. Maybe that's why we still wonder where he went. Maybe that's why his story still feels unfinished. Because Idris might have left the earth, but the earth still hasn't caught up with him. And so the question remains, are we ready to follow the path he started? Don't forget to subscribe in the channel to keep following the truth. Press the like button and hit the ring bell to be with us in the path of the truth.